Hey guys, welcome to the FitTown show. My name is Andrew Frezza, and I'm joined with Sara Wiles, one of our members of FitTown Jupiter. It feels weird to say that.
I was just going to ask if this is the first time you've said it.
It's not the first time I said it, but maybe first time in a podcast interview. So,
cool.
I'm excited to get Sara on the show. Like I said, she's one of our members. Her and her husband Ben were our athletes of the month for one of these months, April or May, that we're in right now. And
What are months?
also want to talk to Sara about, she has some pretty cool stuff she's doing from a business perspective, and something that I think will actually be able to help a lot of our members out that are interested in it. It's kind of outside the scope of things that we normally talk about, but there will be some fitness talk as well. But it's something that's helped me personally and my wife Nikki a lot. It's been huge for our family, so I wanted to share it with you guys. If we come across good information that we feel like is valuable, we want to share it and get it out there. So let's start with the fitness side. We'll start with who convinced who to start CrossFit?
It was me. It's always me with the good ideas.
Didn't Ben start first though, technically?
So Ben started first, but I bought it for him.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
I had wanted to do CrossFit forever. I had a friend that was doing it in Atlanta. He took me to a couple of free intro classes. I loved it every single time. I remember the class. It was like garage doors open. It was in Atlanta, like right downtown in the middle of the city. Garage doors open, Britney Spears playing, running around circles. And I was like, this is me. If there's ever been a thing that's me, it's this. And I just couldn't get Ben to get over that financial hump, right? He just felt like it was really expensive, but I knew if I could get him in the doors that he would love it. So fast forward a couple of years, we were like going to a neighborhood normal, $30 a month gym and like hating it and not getting the results that we wanted. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sign him up. I think it was like around the holidays, and it was the 40 days, whatever. So it's like he got 5 personal training sessions and then he got a month, right? Yeah. And I was like, just do it. I know that it feels expensive to you, but if you go in there and after 30 days you're not hooked, fine, you don't have to do it anymore. But I know him, so I knew that he would be hooked. And he did like one session with Melissa, and he was like, this is the best ever. And then I was like, cool, so I'll be there next month.
Nice.
So it was me.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you had said that you had told me before that you had struggled with the financial side as little as well. So it wasn't just him. So how did you guys get over that hump?
So it's so funny because we had a friend in Atlanta who brought me to those classes who was in grad school at the time and spending, $150, $175 a month on this membership. And we, to us that felt like a lot of money because we just weren't used to spending that much in that category, right?
Yeah.
Or you're like used to spending that much in other categories, but not in the gym category. So my friend had just said to me, like, but what do you spend every month on your car? And what do you spend every month on your health insurance, right? Like, we spend so much money on health insurance and, knock on wood, don't friggin' use it. Like, thousands of dollars a year. And, I was like, and he's like, what does that do for your health? Like literally, there's a 0% chance that you wouldn't spend $150, $175 a month and not see incremental results from that. And I was like, oh, shoot, you are right, James. So I think that always just stuck in the back of my head. And then I had, spent the $30 on the crap gym for long enough and gotten no results and was like, well, why don't we just try something else? And if this doesn't work, fine. You can cancel your membership, but let's just do it and see. And it was a pretty quick, turnaround mindset-wise to go from we don't spend that much money in that category to, okay, so maybe we'll just go less to Starbucks or whatever and spend the money, because really that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like Starbucks money.
Yeah, most people have the money somewhere.
Yep.
It's already being accounted for, and there's certain categories that we have discretion with, and there's other ones that we don't. And it was just a matter of kind of flipping that a little bit to say, the health insurance one for me is, it's something that we all pay for that most of us don't get a lot of value for, and hopefully we never get the value for.
Exactly.
But when you're not also doing the proactive stuff as well, then that's where it's, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah. And then tell us a little bit about just what you do, like work-wise, just so we can start to make the connection a little bit.
Yeah. So my background is in corporate event planning. I did that for 8 years, traveled around the U.S. doing high-end corporate couple celebrity events. And then I had my son in 2015. And the travel for 10 days at a time, work 20-hour days thing didn't work anymore when you have an infant. But my employer didn't really get that at the time. So I left, took a job with a startup, did that for a year, and I just got to a point where I felt like I was doing a crap job at both, right? So I felt like, I'm working all the time at this job and I feel like I'm doing a bad job, and then also thinking about what a bad job I'm doing as a mother. And then I felt like when I was with my kid, I was doing a really bad job at my work, right? So I left on a whim, started a virtual assisting business, had heard about it from the online space. I had a friend who had an online coaching business, and she was like, this is a thing. I'm sure that you can do this. You're smart enough to figure this out. Go to town. So I did that, started the business, really quickly created success there, filled my roster, brought on a team. I ended up with a team of 8 all-mom virtual assistants that worked for me in an agency model. And then I kind of realized, okay, I'm onto something here. I think I've kind of cracked the code for how to start a virtual assisting business and get results pretty quickly. I wonder if I could teach other women and men, I teach some men too, to do the same thing. And so I transitioned to coaching, and now that's what I do full time. Is I'm a business coach and mentor, and I help women start virtual assisting businesses.
Nice.
Yeah.
So can you give us a definition of virtual assistant? I think people intuitively can kind of understand what it is, but then who are you virtual assisting for usually?
Okay. So a virtual assistant is somebody that works for you in the back end of your business, virtually in a remote situation.
Right. They don't have to be physically there. And they don't have to be in India either. They can be here.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah. So depending on the business, you might want somebody who's a native English speaker. Makes things a little bit easier. So what they do depends on what industry you're in. So for you guys, that could be somebody who edits your podcasts, who maybe does some management of your membership database. Maybe they're doing some data scrubbing there. Most of the women that I support, they're supporting the online coaching industry. That's kind of our nice little niche there. So they're doing a lot of blog post management, social media management and posting. They're doing a lot of work on the back end of if a coach is selling a program, they're setting up all the back end of the tech that needs to happen for all of that to work. So it's mostly that.
Cool.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
Cool.
And then how much time do you spend on this? Because if someone follows you on social media, if someone follows the content you put on different platforms and podcasts, I mean, it looks like you're working 80-hour weeks. So you kind of live what you teach to others, right? So how does that actually equate in terms of work hours for you?
So I track every single minute that I work because I'm a little nutty if you haven't figured it out. So I work between, I would say 25 and 35 hours a week. Actual at computer or at phone, doing something at phone work.
Nice.
And the way that it looks like I'm doing 80 hours a week is because I have a team behind me that does a lot of work. We'll talk about this, I think, but I'm a really big proponent of investing big in your business, because I think, first of all, you have to spend money to make money, but also in order for me to do this work and to serve so many people and serve at this level, I can't do it all. Yeah. So that's why I'm able to do so much, is I have an entire team of virtual assistants behind me that support me in the work that I do.
Nice. Yep. Yeah, and that's why I wanted to talk about it was, number one, I've seen firsthand the impact it's had on us with Nikki going through your course and her starting up her own sort of VA business. And then I think we have a lot of small business owners in our community as well that are doing a lot of things themselves that they could easily delegate to someone else and do it for a pretty decent rate, especially compared to what their time is worth. Oh my gosh. So I see both sides. You have moms that are so smart, so skilled, that don't want to take on full-time jobs, but they don't know what the middle option is. So I do want to get into that. I want to come back to the fitness and maybe connect the two. What are some of the things how do you take one into the other? So what are things that you learn in business that you take into the gym, or vice versa? Or what are things that you're learning in the gym that you're taking into business?
I think it's the same thing. So for me, in so many ways, this gym has helped me in my business. One, because, and I bet that you'll relate to this too as an entrepreneur, when you care so deeply about the work that you do, twofold, right? So it's you care so much because you know that the people that are walking in this gym, you're literally gonna help them change their lives, right? And I feel the same way about my work, right? So every person that I support in some capacity in one of the offers that I have the ability to change their lives, right? So I care so deeply about the work that I do because of that. But then there's the other side that's I'm an entrepreneur and a really high achiever, and I just want to see what I can do with this. I think about things that we can do better in the business all day long. It's really easy for you to just think about business all the time. And I found myself in that place before I joined the gym, right? So it was I was still going to my, big bucks gym. And I'm on my Stairmaster doing God knows what, because I don't know what I'm doing. And all I'm doing is thinking through business, right? That's my default mode. And getting into this gym was huge because you cannot think about anything other than what you're doing when you're climbing that rope or you're jumping on this box, right?
Yeah.
So to me, being here has supported my business so much because it gets me out of thinking about my business all the time. And that's just not healthy. Like, I don't actually need to be thinking about business 70 hours a week, 70 hours a day. I definitely think about it 70 hours a week. Right? So I think that it's really helpful there. And then vice versa, I think a lot of the conversations that I have with people who are following me on Instagram or wherever I am is, people want to start virtual assisting businesses because whatever's going on in their life isn't working, right? So whether it's a 9-to-5 career or they don't have a career anymore, they're home with kids, something's not working, right? And part of what I'm telling them about is you can live your life from a place of balance. You don't have to just do what, society tells you to do, like go to college, get the job, work 97 million hours a week and do what everybody else says, and now you're miserable and overweight and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, people want balance. They want to be able to live life on their own terms, and so I have to be an example of that too, right? So I can't be like, balance, and then work 90 hours a week. I'm like, balance. I work 25 to 35, and then I make sure that I'm doing the other things that are really important to me, like getting my butt in this gym 5 times a week.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you've taken something that is like such a defined, the 40-hour week, the 9-to-5, these are things that we think we have to, no matter how successful we are, it's like, okay, if you're successful in that window, then it's not work less and make the same, it's let's work more and make more, and even the 40 is on the low side for a lot of people. That's turned into 50 and 60, and it's like, figure out what success looks like to you, figure out what happiness looks like to you, figure out what balance looks like to you. It's going to be different for everybody. There's going to be people that balance for them feels like a 50-hour week. Totally. Because that's what they like to do. Yeah. But they're still making time for the things that you're saying, to balance it out. Cool. So how do you and Ben interact with each other as it relates to the gym? How do you guys manage that? And how do you guys make sure it happens for both of you, I guess is the better question, with the son at home? Yeah.
So Ben does morning classes and I do afternoon classes. So we're basically never working out together except for on Saturdays sometimes. Again, I think the hardest obstacle for us after we got over the financial component of getting in here was time. Like, how do you do this? And, it's so funny because I feel like when you live in South Florida, everybody thinks that a 5-minute drive is a very long drive. So we live all the way in Palm Beach Gardens.
Wow.
and people at the gym are like, that's so far. So it's a 20-minute drive on a bad day. So that was just the hard part. It's like we have to account for an hour class and, 40 minutes of travel round trip every day. And it's just a non-negotiable now. So in the beginning, when you're forming a new habit, right, which was getting to this gym, it's hard and you have to talk yourself into it and you have to set he's got to set his alarm early, or I'll hear the alarm go off and I'm like, get out of bed, you have to go, right? So it just took time for us to create the habit, and now it's like we couldn't not be here when we can actually be here, but we can't not do our at-home workout that we're doing with you guys every day because it's just the habit. So I don't know. I don't even know if that was a good answer, except it was hard in the beginning and now it's not hard anymore because it's the habit.
Was there anything that helped that become real, or is there, maybe you just did that right from day one? Did you put it in your calendar? Did you guys communicate always the night before? What did that look like in a very tactical way for you to get through that?
I'm huge with my calendar. If it doesn't exist on my calendar, it doesn't happen. I have even right now when we're in the middle of quarantine and at home and doing all this craziness, I have my calendar blocked out by intense segments of what happens. My husband's the opposite. He is so not into the calendar thing or the planning thing. It's just that we know when we go, and that's just when
he also has a set work schedule, right?
Kind of. They're pretty willy-nilly right now, yeah.
All right.
So, but usually he has a set work schedule, so it's he goes in the morning and I go in the afternoon.
Okay.
We just did.
Nice. Yeah. So I like the calendar. How do you attack the calendar? Is it always, do you try to set it Sunday for the whole week and then check in day to day? How do you do that? I like the calendar stuff.
So now, while we're all at home, or normally when we're not all at home, because it's different.
Let's say normal.
Okay. Everything just gets on my calendar. I have recurring blocks. So for me, I wish I could pull it out and show everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm the type of person that thrives on routines. So if I can keep my Monday through Friday the same, that is what works best for me. When things change, I do not do well with the change in my work schedule. So I just know that every single day I drop my child off at 9. I account for 15 minutes to drive home. In that 15-minute gap of time, I'm on Voxer with my 2 friends that are peers of mine. Like, that is when that time happens. And then I have all of my client calls in my calendar, and I keep work blocks too. So I know these are my 2 work blocks for the day. And then I have a secondary task management platform that I use, and so I just slot that in that day. So I guess that answers your question.
Okay.
I keep the blocks in the calendar, and every morning I figure out what's going in those blocks.
Cool. So I want to keep this going even more, because I think what you're good at is something that so many people struggle at. And you had put the social media post up about this the other day that I love, which is like the idea of like real action versus fake action. And I was thinking about like, how does this apply to people who want to get in shape? Like, real action versus fake action.
Yeah.
You had mentioned it with starting a business, like buying business cards, getting your logo refined, getting your website refined. More often than not is more of the fake action versus like making sales and getting clients. And I was thinking about the gym. I'm like, I think definitely like signing up for a Globo Gym membership. Like, you think about New Year's rush. Like, most people are checking that box with no plan to make that happen. Maybe posting to social media about, I'm about to start this thing, but they haven't actually started it. Are there?
I think like buying weights on Amazon. You know what I mean? Where you're like, I'll get the weights, and then they go in the corner of your garage and you never use them. How else do you see it in either form, fitness or in business, like, so people can maybe relate to this even deeper? Totally. So in business, I think it's really funny, because when I started my virtual assisting business, I had no logo, no website, no nothing. And I was like, we're just gonna go. And the reason for that was because I was a new mom. I mean, he was 16 months at the time, but still not sleeping through the night, which is like, insanity. I just didn't have mental capacity for anything else. Like, did not have the ability to put one more thing on my plate. I was like, what I have the ability for today is to sell. So we're gonna go sell, right? So I think the helpful thing is just to know you don't need those things. Those are things that you're telling yourself that you need before you do the thing that's uncomfortable. Because that's what we're always willing to do, right? Is like, put something that like feels a little uncomfortable but not really before the thing that actually scares the crap out of us, right? So when somebody's walking through, like, it is intimidating to walk into this gym the first time that you do it. It's intimidating to walk into any gym the first time, right? But especially when you're walking into a gym, like, these people are so fit and like they're beautiful and they're sweaty, and you're like, oh my God, can I climb this thing, and can I jump on this thing, and like, this feels intense, right? I cheered in high school, but I was never like an athlete. So I didn't walk in feeling like, this feels just like my days of playing soccer in college, like I think a lot of people do. But like, that's the thing, is if you're doing something that actually still feels safe, that's how you know you're still taking safe action, right? But if you're like, it would scare the crap out of me to walk into the gym, but I really want to walk into the gym, that's the thing you need to do, right? It would scare the crap out of me to hire the trainer, but I need to hire the trainer. Cool. Now you know where you need to head.
And also investing in yourself, I think, is a big one. Like, we had mentioned it before, but I've seen you even go further, where it's like, I mean, not only do you pay for membership, then you pay for nutrition coaching, and I've seen you, working one-on-one with Arlen and doing stuff like that. How do you think about investing in yourself?
I mean, you are your best investment, right? Like, you're never going to let yourself down, hopefully. And the more that you invest in yourself, the more that you get back out of yourself. So when I started at CrossFit, I remember thinking, okay, I know enough at this point in my fitness and health journey to know it's really great if you can do stuff in the gym, but what you're putting into your mouth matters a lot as well. So I know a lot, right? I knew a lot about clean eating. I'm a self-professed food snob. I will only shop at Whole Foods. Like, I'm an a-hole when it comes to food, okay? But I was like, something's still not lining up, because I'm not where I want to be from a result standpoint. I'm eating the foods that I think that I should be eating, and I'm exercising consistently, but I don't know something. I don't know everything. I'm never going to know everything. So I might as well try this new thing and see if I can learn something more and something better. And again, to me, I'm always now willing, because I've seen the results out of it, to invest in my health, because I know that it's always going to give back to me. It reminds me of a book title. I read the book, but the book's called The Last Safe Investment, and it's the idea of you being the last safe investment, because anything you do, even stuff that seems really safe, like, pensions for a while were really safe, and 401ks and things like that. And not that you shouldn't do that stuff, but that should always be balanced out with betting on you, Oh my gosh. And you'll see actually business owners that sometimes will
they'll make a lot of cash and then they'll try to put that somewhere else instead of taking a large percentage of that and investing it back into themselves and continuing to bet on themselves. And a lot of them, when they start, they bet on themselves. That's why they started the business.
Have to.
But over time, they don't bet on themselves as much, and that's why they don't see as much success. So I like that. I always keep that in the back of my mind of we are the last safe investment.
Yeah. I like that.
So I wanted to talk about the actual opportunities that might be out there, like really specific stuff of like where a mom that's at home that wants to get back to work, what that could actually look like for her. And I'll just share briefly about Nikki's story of what I've seen. I don't know. I'm sure it's not the same perspective as she were to tell it, but I mean, she started going through your course 2 months ago, immediately started picking up clients, and she's like maxed out her schedule right now. She's having to tell certain people no, and she's working with a lot of female entrepreneurs. She's actually working with people that I know that they heard that she was doing this stuff, and now she's working with a company called Active Life and doing stuff for them, which is a brand that other people out there might know. And it's been great because, I mean, I see this drive back in her, this passion back in her that I know she has to want to, feel like she has a purpose beyond just being a mom. Not that that's not a purpose, but balance, right? We need some other thing to balance that out. And I mean, it's been so cool to see her have that drive again, and she's able to be a better mom. It's given us so much more financial cushion and peace of mind at this time, as there is so much uncertainty with the coronavirus stuff and uncertainty with the gym being shut down, and we don't have to be scared mainly because of her. So where could someone get started, or what does it even look like? How should they even be thinking about it?
Yeah. So the really cool thing with this work is you get to be in control of it, right? So what you're saying is, Nikki's like, this is what my capacity is. I know how much time I have per week to give to the business, because also I have a life and a husband and 2 children, right? You get to set that. So there's no employer that's like, so actually 20 hours a week, actually 40 hours a week, actually 60 hours a week. It's you that gets to set that, which is really cool. I think what's really cool with moms of young children is that can change over time, right? So I have a lot of moms that are like, it's gonna look like this for now because I have kids at home or kids in very minimal, preschool. And then they go to elementary school, and then the business expands and that changes. So that's really the cool part about it, is you're just in control of it. Nikki gets to say yes or no to clients. Nikki also now gets to increase her rate up and up and up and up, because that's what you get to do when the demand is high, right? Yeah. And the supply is low. So that's what's really cool. So where do you start, right? If you're thinking about that you want to do this work, where should you start? I mean, just go follow me on Instagram. That's a really great thing to do. It's so funny, I get this question all the time where people are like, how do you give value to your audience, but how do you not give so much away that they never pay you for it? Stop worrying about that. Like, give so much value away. This is just how I think about it, that if somebody doesn't actually have to pay me a penny ever to work with me, it's because they want to pay me a penny, because they want to take the next step. So I give a ton of free value away on Instagram. I also do daily 2-minute trainings Monday through Thursday, where I'm on stories and I'm actually telling you something that you can be doing to start your business, scale your business, do something that's specific to this industry, which we call online done for you, right? So that's virtual assistants, online business managers. That's a really good way to start. I have lots of free downloads. I have like hundreds of blog posts that you could read too, but like, just if you're thinking about it and you're like, I just want to learn a little bit more about this before I make a decision, it's a great place to start.
Cool. And then what about the small business owners? Because we have a lot in this area. We have people that own coffee shops, people that own surf shops, people that own marketing businesses, payroll businesses. Like, how should they be thinking about this work, since they already have full-time work? They're not doing it for that reason, but how would they benefit from this?
So this is huge, one, because you get to set a budget, right? So you get to just work with somebody for 10 hours a month or something like that. It's really great because it's pretty low risk, right? So if you're like, I've never done this virtual thing before, but I think that this could be beneficial because I wouldn't have to pay payroll taxes and health insurance and all of these things, and I could just get some extra hands, right? Usually for business owners like you're talking about, it's like the administrative stuff that's always on their plate. Right? So if they got 10 hours a month, right? 2 hours a week back of their time, that's friggin' huge. Like, again, as somebody who works 25 to 35 hours a week, 2 hours is huge for me. So that's really great.
What are some of the best tasks, if you could generalize? I don't know if that's even possible. What are some of the best tasks to delegate to someone?
It just depends on their skill set, right?
Yeah.
Because like Nikki's skill set is totally different than
Okay.
other VAs that I work with. I think it's in the beginning when you're still building trust with someone, right? Because this is a trust building situation. I always say to people, like, you need to date someone before, in a business relationship, you need to date them before you want to marry them, right? So like give them the lower level things, scheduling, calendaring, like. I have one of my VAs, I cannot for the life of me remember to buy my family gifts for their, I can remember it in business, but I cannot do it, right? So I'm like, and that's going on Allie's plate, right? Just the things that are constantly on your list that you're not getting done, right?
Yeah.
That like annoy you. You get in bed at night and you're like, oh my God, I forgot to do this thing again. Throw that on their plate. I think that would be really easy. In the back end of my business, we run a matchmaking service as well. I don't know if you know about this.
Yeah.
And so an entrepreneur or a business owner or whoever can fill out a form, and the form takes about 10 minutes, and it gives us enough information that we need to be able to match you with a service provider that's in the budget range that you have, that's in the skill range that you're looking for as well. That's really helpful. It's free. It's awesome for us, just from a business owner standpoint, right? Because what that helps me do is fill my one-to-one clients, fill my start students, and I help them with leads. But it's really smart for the business owners and entrepreneurs too, because one, you're hiring someone that you know is investing in their business, right?
Yeah.
That's smart. You want somebody who understands what that looks like. And two, you're hiring somebody who has some sort of training in this field instead of just finding somebody on Fiverr and hoping and praying that they're not going to take your money and ghost you, right?
Yeah, I think from a business owner's perspective, there's an advantage to having someone that doesn't want a full-time job, because if there's that ability to kind of try it and play with the relationship, as you said, date them before you have to marry them, and you're getting a much more skilled person, as opposed to like taking someone who's green out of college. Not to say that you couldn't be having some people that are out of college as well, but it's generally not someone like that who's green out of college that needs a full-time job. There's someone that's wanting to get 10 hours of work a week. How do you think about, like, I've seen it come up a few times of like trying stuff, like the risk of trying something, knowing that in 30 days you can just stop doing it. You can just quit, whether that's like a hire you made, whether that's you're the VA and you're trying this out, trying out the gym, right? It's not a $2,000 a year investment. It's $150 a month, and try it. Let's see where we go from here. Yeah. Do you think about that a lot in various parts of your life?
I think that as a society, we're trained to be so black and white, right? Like, we just want answers. We want to know that what we're doing is the right thing, and we only want to do it if it's the right thing, because we're so adverse to like not being in control, right? We're so adverse to not knowing all of the answers, right? The more that I've dived into my own mindset practice, personal development journey, and entrepreneurship journey, which is the same, right? The more I'm like, I don't know anything. I know exactly what I know right now in this moment, and anything that I try next could work, it could not work, but I'm always available to try, because I think that will make me a better person. So when we can get out of that mindset of like, must know all the answers today, and get more into the mindset of like, I'll just try this and see how this goes, and if it works, cool, and if it doesn't, cool. I think that's where the win is, no matter if you're talking about jumping on a box or starting a VA business or walking into a gym or whatever. Like, who cares? Try it. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, cool. Like, you don't have to know all the answers today, and you don't have to know that everything is going to be successful just to try it out. And to your point, it's such a low risk.
How do you differentiate between that and then sort of the fake action as well? Is that the calendar? Is that the differentiating piece of like, you're going to try it, but you're going to schedule, you're going to fully commit, versus just like, oh, I tried it because I signed up, but I never actually really went to this thing, right?
You have to go. I think that's what's helpful for people, is the financial aspect seems like it's enough to like actually make them do it, right? So
actually it's better if it's a little bit more expensive, because it hurts enough that you're going to actually use it.
100%. Same thing for me, right? When I'm making an investment in my business, I just invested in something. I'm going to show up for it more if I actually have skin in the game than if somebody offered it to me for free. So we did this with, we launched a program, we did a beta launch, and we offered it for free for the course that I run, because I wanted to make sure I could actually get people results before I asked people to pay for it, right? And instead of giving them free access, we actually asked them to make a $100 donation to a nonprofit of their choice, because if you were only going to sign up for it because it's free, first of all, you're probably not going to do the work because you didn't actually feel like you had skin in the game. And two, I don't actually want your feedback because you were just here for the free thing anyway, right?
You're not the ideal client that's going to be buying it.
So I think that's where it makes so much sense. Like, spending the money, especially when you're tight around it, Ben Wiles, is so smart, because then he showed up at 5:45 in the morning with Melissa when he, you know, a month ago he was like, I am not waking up at 5:45 in the morning. That's the craziest thing I ever heard. Right. I was like, I spent $300 and something on this, and he was like, I'll be there. Right? Yeah. So you kind of have to have more skin in the game to make you do it.
Awesome. I love that. We'll wrap up on that. Is there anything else you want to add or let people know where they can find you? I don't know if you mentioned your Instagram.
Oh, thank you. I'm on Instagram at Sara, SARA_Wiles, WILES, or sarawiles.co. No M, because I'm cool like that. Also, it was just taken. Those are the two easiest places to find me. And I'm super active on Instagram, super active on DMs. So if you have questions or just want to chat, that's the best place to find me.
Cool. Thanks, Sara.
Thank you.